Yo, Real True Fathers back with you, man. Hope y'all having a blessed day. This is part two to Lavell Redmond, the sex offender over there in Dolton, Illinois, up on the Tiffany Henyard. That's what y'all call it, Henyard. I call it Henyard. I don't listen. Super Mario, uh, Tahoe Tier, Tiff Tier, whatever y'all want to call it. That's cool with me. But I call it crook. I call it jail time. That's what I call it. Look, this part two, like I said, I'm gonna get right on to it in the video and everything. Jedediah Brown is getting the truth out this man. So I want y'all to hear it. You know, America. I want the whole world to hear it out of his mouth, man. The horse's mouth, man. It don't get no realer than this.
Wait. Tiffany's, you're quoting, quote, would you ever date a woman who has power? Yes. End quote. Yes. Wow.
And so I told her, no, it's not my power. I don't care about none of that. So if I date a girl, it's going to be because I like her. You know what I mean? And then later on, she wanted me to be her personal detail. So again, I
There was
thought she
another
was
with the
playing
person
around.
detail dropping money,
So I said, you know what?
like
I'm
the
going to
officer
the flea
dropping all
market
this
and get
money.
me a fake badge so I can have a badge. She was like, no, I'm going to get you a real badge.
She
And
said
I
she
was
gonna
like,
get him a
okay.
real
I
badge.
didn't.
We ain't
I
gonna
didn't
go
pay
against.
attention to
We
it.
ain't gonna go.
And then she brought
We ain't gonna go with the law. We're gonna go around the law. Let me get you a real badge.
it to me again. And she had somebody that was helping her run her campaign. And I will say his name because I think it's important to do it. His name was Sammy Young.
Put him out there.
Sammy Young, I
Put
began
all of them out
training
there.
him and his nephew Tony at the gym, and we all became familiar with each other to the point where we were all like an in-house family in the campaign office. And I told Tiffany at this point, I didn't really want to tell her because I didn't want to unnerve her. I want her to get a feel for my character before I unleash my truths on her. So I told her, I said, listen, I can't be, your personal detail. And prior to that, I had already explained this to Sammy, so he already knew the situation. Because Sammy was a superintendent for Cook County Jail for many years, so he was able to research me regardless. And since I was training him and they were paying me weekly to train as a personal trainer, I felt the need to tell him who he was training with. And this particular day, I told Tiffany I couldn't be, your personal detail. I got a background. And she said, I don't care as long as it ain't no kids. I said, but there is kids involved. I was a child. And so she was like, well, I don't care. That was like, what, 30 some years ago? I said, yeah, it was.
So this is interesting because here it is. You're almost describing a person who doesn't understand the weight or the seriousness of their office or their decision. You're saying I've done things to protect her, and I'm telling her this, and she just doesn't care because she just wants her will. Is that?
I'm gonna be honest with you, and then we'll get back on track with it.
Did you hear that? This man is telling the truth. He told about his situation. And to be a mirror, she said she don't care. I don't know if she just wanted this man, liked him. Well, we know now that she liked him. Just want to get with him so bad that she didn't care about nothing, not no citizens. She didn't care about you can't care about nothing, man. You got your child and he might come to your house. You just don't know. You don't know what's going on in this world. But she don't care. That's why it's important to make sure every man that steps in your child background, your child life, to make sure that you look up their record, man. You watch. You don't bring them straight on in your house. You don't bring them straight on in your house. You go to their house or whatever, you know what I mean, or you meet them somewhere or whatever and everything, till you get a real understanding, a real feeling about this person, because this person might be a rapist. I mean, this person might be uh, a foul person. You understand? Your child, your children is the most important thing. You done lived your life. Make sure they straight. Be honest with them. Honest with your kids. Let them know that you bring somebody in there that you done knew for so long and everything. You ain't met him because I didn't want him around you until I found out about him myself. You just don't bring them in and thinking everything gonna be all right because their intentions might be way different than yours.
Initial point I was making. Tiffany, in my opinion, I mean, we, no matter how many years we are able and blessed to be around people, we only know of them. We only know what they want us to know. So
And I'm saying another thing. If he was just, come on, I'm gonna get
when
on
I
with it.
got to know Tiffany, it was a very different version of what you see now.
Wow. I heard that a lot.
She was, and the relics and the rumors about dealing with different guys, I didn't see that. So all this stuff that people are saying and
Really some rumors that she was dealing with different guys and everything. If somebody tell you something and they done seen these people, so how many guys she done had?
echoing, I didn't see 90% of it. And I'm very good at absorbing energy and people and details. So she duped me pretty good, and given the environment that I come from, which
Snake.
is very predatory prison, I've always had to be on my P's and Q's. So for her to get one over on me, that was surprising to me. And given her age bracket, you know what I mean? I mean, she's relatively young, 41 now. When we was willing and dealing, she had to be like 37, 38. And she masked herself very well with a good heart. And I'm the innocent damsel in distress who wants to
She do.
rise up above, and become the first young black mayor. And I was pulled in, wow, to that energy, and I genuinely wanted to see her win. I think she had an incredible opportunity to do things that are insurmountable and great. I think she fumbled God's purpose that He put on her. And I do think that she was anointed to do a purpose for God. I just think that like most of us who are gifted or given a purpose by God, we can fumble it.
So Lavell, I want to, and I do want to get back to track, being on track. But I was trying to do a little bit of a build up to myself. Um, and so I kind of want to go back to the beginning of the interview. And my question to you was, how was it serving the people?
I mean, I'm going to be very honest with you. I feel incredibly bad for my role in helping elect her. And I say that because I truly, and I'm sure the trustees that are sitting on the panel did too, everybody genuinely believed that she would do what she said she would do. I think that she
I'm gonna say this and that, but actually, knowing how the situation is coming down now, I believe that everybody was in for the money. Whoever was closest to her get the most money. It's about that bag. With these people, it was about that bag. They didn't care what happened to the citizens. They can quit all this old whimpering and this and that and everything. The whole thing is, if you getting more than them, they mad. And Tiffany may have gotten more, whoa, than anybody.
completely did a 360 when she got in office. But in answering your question,
That's every politician. They lie until they get in office. Once they get in office, they don't care what's going on. They don't care. Most of them is going to eat on taxpayer dollar. I mean, overage, going to hotels, flying out, overage, over the expenditures. I mean, and saying they're gonna do this and they're gonna do that. They campaign and they debates uh, rely on it, you know, to do civilians to do the world. But understand that it's not too many politicians that that's actually helping to change this world. They rather for it to stay the same way it is, as long as they fill in their pockets. And you might don't think that's a I know you know it, but a lot of people don't think that they don't care. Get out and vote, man. Which vote ain't gonna too much help you, but it helps put somebody in power that won't do that much damage to the society. That much, just a little bit less damage than what the next one to do. It helps out a whole lot because once they get in office in years, they can mess it up. They can mess your whole city up. It won't be work for the next. It'll be so hard for the next mayor to change it around that it takes them 2 and 3 years just to change it. 4 years just to even change uh, what the last mayor done. So I recommend you get out there. A little bit helps and vote.
There's been nothing good in my life as a child. And I won't use this platform to play victim because I'm not a victim for anyone. But I was never really a wholesome child. And so, and I'm leading up to your question. And so,
I believe that because a lot of people don't have wholesome uh, environments and they while they growing up, but it's no excuse for what happened back in the days. It, it's no excuse. There's no right for to do what anybody allegedly to do anything. But if you've been convicted of it, it's more. It's more that the prosecutor have on you that makes you plea out because you don't want them 40 years or 50 years because they got so much evidence on you. So I don't take no excuses for it, even if you plea. Because I don't care if if you're not guilty. It's just something that I won't plea. I won't take a plea for. If I'm not guilty, I don't. It's no excuses. You can say uh, they would the judge is corrupt, the prosecutor corrupt, but at least even if I go through it all and get locked up and get sentenced, and I'm still innocent, I can at least say I'm innocent and know it in my heart that I'm innocent. I just ain't gonna sign and say I did that. I just can't sign and say I did it. Now, if I did it, I'm gonna sign for it. All right.
when I was young, I was environment driven, meaning that all the vices that go on in slum areas and all that, I succumbed to that. And I became a very bad child. Hung up with the wrong group of kids, all that. The same stories you hear with these boys doing right now. I won't throw my parents under the bus, but I will say this if you can understand it. My mother and my father had their own demons. And I'll keep it right there. But when I needed them the most, they were the very best versions of what they were when I needed them the most, and it wasn't enough for me. So I was consumed by the vices in the ghetto. And subsequently, I became a very troubled young man. I yearned to hang out with all the wrong groups, the badder, the worse, the better it was for me. Fast forwarding to your question, what I went through, what God put me through in prison, I got completely destroyed and then transmogrified and made something different, whether people choose to believe that or not. But the fact is, when I was able to come out to the village and help somebody to do something meaningful, it meant a lot to me. And so when I seen her young, black, she's a woman, I've been accused for these horrible crimes against women. I just felt it was an opportunity for me to give the best version of it. And so I wanted to help her, and I did everything I could to help her. I was out on streets of Dolton, 2, 3 in the morning, passing out literature about Riley being a white beater and all this nonsense I don't know nothing about. I flipped a lot of votes because I fashion myself as being a person that's well spoken when I need to be. I flipped a lot of votes. A lot of people did not want her to be the mayor. I don't think she understands that. Karen Johnson did the same thing. But I talked to so many residents that was just completely transfixed on not wanting to see her face as the mayor of Dolton. And that's a fact. But I talked to them when I was a code enforcement officer. I would talk to them. They were very adamant about her getting out of that office when she got recalled. Well, I talked to a lot of them. Give her another chance. She's young. She's still developing spiritually and obviously mentally. But yeah, so in answering your question, it was a chance for me to do something meaningful, something that I can hold on to and say, you know what, I helped put that sister in office. She made history, and I gotta tell you, I regret it.
Boy.
I do regret it.
Yeah, but what I want to ask you specifically is about as a code enforcement officer, how did the residents entreat you? How was that experience for you?
Okay, so here's the deal. So I've always been a person, and don't use this to crack a joke, homie. I'm just being honest. And Nikita used to tease me about this when she was PRing for Tiffany. I've always been a person that's been perceived to be well dressed. And even when I was a code enforcement officer,
okay.
Yeah. So they used to tease me all the time. They used to call me deacons, detective.
You wasn't like you was before Dolton. All them baguettes on your finger and this and that and everything. And that ice, you wasn't like that at first. Before Tip gave you some money. You wasn't like that. I bet you wasn't. And you were riding a lane road with no gas. And you just like that. Boy, stop. You can quit that. You can quit that. Boy, you can quit that. That's what you was wearing was from the thrift show while you was back them days.
Nikita would catch me, telling me I'm the prettiest, you know what I mean? All type of stuff. They would just crack on me 24/7. Yes, all that.
That's president.
Everything. And then I would carry a badge on my hip. So, in answering your question, when I got ushered all over the news by the people at certain radio stations I'm not going to mention, people did not associate that face on the news to the person that they saw driving around in the village.
Wow.
Because my imagery was different. And then I was well spoken. I respected everybody. You know what I mean? People respected me, so people just could not believe that I was the face that was being plastered all over the news for a certain crime. Even when they did find out who I was, a lot of people, when they got the details, because a lot of people just ran with the news. Some people did their actual research. They Googled me and learned I was a child.
On the bottom of the screen is a lot of comments and everything. Forgiveness is important, man. And being that he been so many years without digging back in, what he was the filthiness, nastiness that he was in was real. But you got to come all the way out, man. You've been convicted, tell all of the truth. That's the way to get over it. I mean, being honest, I mean, you can't just say I was there. You can't say I was driving the car. Prosecutor had something on you. But a lot of times they will try to. If you was there and the charges go to you too. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, that's part of the law. Because you shouldn't have been there. I mean, if you did, you should have reported it. You should have called right then before this. for it happened, or while it was happening. Because it's disgusting, man. But don't let no pretty suit and pretty face and all that and everything and cute, whatever. Don't let that discourage you, ladies, because it could be your daughter, huh? And then what do you think about forgiveness?
With other children and older and adults, and they understood because a lot of people. I mean, let's face it. We when we went with this racist thing. We black. We all have nephews in prison, uncles.
Everybody pulling their card. This is the wrong time to pull their card, their race card. Is the I mean, I hear that in Dolton a lot. It's a lot of us in Dolton, you know. Ain't no reason pulling that, man, because you're surrounded by 'em. So quit. I mean, don't give an excuse. This wrong. This the wrong section for that excuse. You're dealing with sexual assault and you working as a code enforcer to the race card. It's not right.
Fathers. A lot of us understand the story about being sucked into the vices on the streets and
True.
subsequently getting sucked in by the judicial system made an example out of. And I was no exception to that. When I was a child, I was
That's the
probably
truth
borderline
statement.
retarded. And if we're gonna use a better word, I was slow to develop. And so were the boys around me, in their defense.
And I believe him too. I seen him comment. Look at the comment on the bottom. I believe him. He's coming on out. That's why I'm glad he did. And Lavell, his book gonna come out too, which I'm gonna read it. I'm gonna buy it and read it. I have to, because I want to know everything, especially about what happened back then. Because back then they used to throw charges on people, and I wonder was this the case? But I want to know actually. But regardless, if you got that title on your background, you wouldn't be coming to my house. You wouldn't be a code enforcement. Not coming in my house.
In hindsight, I'm almost 50 years old.
But I want to talk about that. I want to kind of go down that road a little bit because you said that there were people who, well, first of all, I can believe that. I've said the few times I've seen you, I can tell that you care about your presentation. Excellence is you definitely present excellence every time. But I want to kind of go into some of that because, and this is based off of information that we've had. These are things we've talked about. You said there were those that went and did the research. So in 1991, you was accused or it was
Time.
found that you had committed a sexual
On
assault with a
time.
weapon and sentenced at the age of 17 to 50 years in prison.
So this is what happened. Now I won't get into too much detail. Like I told you, I'm writing a book eventually.
Okay.
So when I went to prison, and this gets me a little upset, just the details and what they're doing in the judicial system. When I went to prison, none of us knew anything about jail or laws or attorneys or none of it. Anything that has anything to do with jail. When you're a teenager, you're completely dumbfounded because you're ignorant to it. And I was 15 years old when I went to jail. When you commit a certain kind of crime or you're involved in a certain kind of crime, they charge you as an adult. Okay, when they charge you as an adult, that's called an AT, which means automatic transfer to the county when you turn 17, because they can't put you around grown-ups when you're still a child. So they send you to places like the Hardy Home, which is in some other terms considered juvenile detention. Okay, if you're convicted as a juvenile, you go to children penitentiaries like Valley View, Little Joliet, St. Charles, Hasburg. Those are little children prisons. But when you get charged as an adult, if you don't take a plea before you turn 17, when you turn 17, they put you in Cook County Jail with adults.
Okay.
Which is what happened to me. So when I turned 17, they sent me to Cook County Jail. And And even in Cook County Jail, they don't initially put you around the grown men. And there's 4 decks that they put juveniles on, usually like the school wing. But they keep the juveniles particularly away from the grown-ups because they view you as being vulnerable to a degree, even when you go to prison. So they are careful to separate grown-ups from kids, even when you get charged as an adult.
True.
Unless you start doing silly stuff behind bars, and then they don't care where they
Then
put
they
you.
put you
If
with
you're
the
troublesome, they'll throw you anywhere. And so,
And I think that I think that society needs to know a lot more about the system and the way that it targets and how predatory it is.
right
And I hope that your book that you will write will explore those topics. But even with the system, I think it's important if you can answer it. What do you?
I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna make a 3 of this because I'm not through with it. Uh, well spoken, sharp. I actually believe that he remorseful for what happened. I really do. It don't make up for what happened to her though, because he could have called. He could have called even if he wasn't involved, if he was there, which he said he was just there. You could have called the police, man. I mean, I know your homeboy's gonna be mad at you, this and that and everything, but it's the right thing. It's the right thing in this situation. I can understand different situations, but this situation here, I couldn't be around. Couldn't have been around it. And be around some people that do stuff like that. It's not good. I wouldn't dare be around. But the whole thing is, y'all leave in the comments below. Let me know how y'all feel. I mean, what if you was in this situation, which I wouldn't even put myself in this situation, but if you were, what would you do? Call police or just let it happen? I don't know. The real truth out is, man. Y'all have a blessed day, and I love y'all and appreciate you looking at this video, and God bless y'all. And like I say, man, just keep it real. One of the only things we got, keep 100. All right.